Hey everyone, welcome to Disney Movie Reviews. I'm Mr. Lane, and of course with me as always is Miss Emily. Now this week we're going to take a little bit of a detour away from movies again, and we're going to keep talking about Walt Disney World. So Miss Emily has come up with some questions to ask Mr. Lane about Disney World, and I'm going to see if I can answer all of them. Who knows? There might be some that maybe stump me. Who knows? They're not trivia questions though, right, Miss Emily? So you can kind of explain what your questions are,
yes.
I guess. Your criteria, so to say.
Miss Emily's criteria. So, as we all know, you love Walt Disney World. Like, you love it so much. And it's very clear, very apparent. You have a trip planned for August.
Yes, I do.
And so in celebration of the parks opening back up this right now, yes. we felt that this would be a fun thing to do.
Yeah,
and it's fun that I'm asking the questions because my Disney experience is very, very limited. Being that I've literally just spent 2 hours at Disney Springs once, and that's it, guys. I don't know anything about Disney World. So a lot of these questions, if you haven't been to Disney World, maybe you're wondering these things about it too.
Sure.
You could go to the frequently asked questions of the Disney World website, or you could just ask Mr. Lane, because he's a pro.
Yeah, which is the equivalent of the frequently asked questions board.
Pretty much. All right,
okay.
So I figured a good question just to kick things off.
I'm excited.
When was the first time you visited?
Oh, wow. Okay. So the first time I went, I was in the first grade. My grandparents and me went, and so that was my first trip ever. It was my first time, I think, flying on a plane too. I can't remember. That and a trip to Louisiana we took on a plane is kind of close together. But it was one of my first times flying on a plane too. So that trip was a lot of fun, but I was so young that I didn't ride everything. I was also a little scared to ride some of the things because I was like, oh no, that looks scary, so let's not ride that. So some of the stuff I did not do, but I remember a lot from that first trip. And then the first trip I really remember a lot of is fast forward to I think 6th grade is when we went, the summer before 6th grade. So that's the one I remember probably more than that first trip. But yeah, my first trip was in 1st grade.
Okay, very fun. Okay, we'll see if you actually know the answer to this one, because who knows. How many times have you been to Disney World?
Oh gosh. I think the last time I counted, it was somewhere in the 20s.
Wow.
I've been, I think, more than my age. So I'm 22, and so I think I've been 23 or 24 times. It's there's some short trips that kind of get me tripped up on how many times I've actually been. But yeah, it's somewhere in the 20s.
Very cool. Wow.
I had to take a survey where I answered that one time, and I literally sat on a bus counting on my fingers all the different trips, because I had to try to get them in order. So
good times.
It was fun.
That's a lot of times to visit a place, but it's a big place.
It is
so
a big
I think
place,
it's okay.
And you can't ever do everything in one trip, so you have to go multiple times. So
they design it that way.
Yes,
Smart.
they absolutely do.
All right, so as we can see on your shirt, there's 4 parks, and I know you've told me this before, but I forgot. What is your favorite park of the 4?
My favorite park is Magic Kingdom, because that is the one that I feel like you can take anybody to, and you can have a fun day the whole time. And also the castle is there, so that's a picture that I feel like everybody at one point should have, is a picture in front of the castle. And since I've been so many times, it's also a place for me where I know I can go and have just a lot of different ride options to do. Some of the other parks don't have as many ride options as they do experiences to sit down and watch. So that's why I like Magic Kingdom, because there's a lot of little rides that you can ride in between too. So it's my favorite.
Magic Kingdom.
Magic.
All right. This one might be a little longer, and I expanded it because it's very hard to just ask someone, what's your favorite food from the whole resort?
Yeah.
So what's your favorite food from each park?
Food from each park. Okay. So Magic Kingdom is Pecos Bill, Tall Tale Cafe, I think is what it's called.
Okay.
Its menu has changed a lot over the 20 different times that I've gone. I feel like almost every time we go, it's a different thing. Recently, though, it's been like kind of like Mexicanish type food. And so they have like nachos and quesadillas, and I think they've even had like burgers there too at one point. So it's a very good option though, because it's just not chicken nuggets and cheeseburgers, you know, which is like what most of the places, especially in Magic Kingdom, are, because Magic Kingdom does not have as many different food options as the other parks. So that's my favorite in Magic Kingdom. In Epcot, there's a lot of different places you can eat in Epcot because it has the World's Fair. Recently, though, when I went last time, I ate at a place in Morocco called the Spice Road Table, and I think that takes the cake as my favorite food in Epcot. I had lamb sliders and hummus fries, and they were very, very good. Yes, if you've never been to Epcot, don't just go to America and eat, because
That's
there
boring.
are so
Why would you do that?
many other places to go, and I've copped out and I've ate at America before, and one of my friends roasted me for it. She said, "Why would you do that to yourself when you can go eat literally almost anywhere in the world while you're there?" And I said, that is true. So I've determined never to eat in America again if I'm in Epcot. So yes, but Spice Road Table is one of the best ones there. I'm going to save Animal Kingdom for last because that's a tough one for me. But Hollywood Studios is also tough because a lot of their stuff is just basic burgers and fries. But there is a place called Mama Melrose's that is right near the Muppets show. So it's kind of tucked away back behind this place, and it is very, very good. It is some Italian food, and it's got steak there, which I've heard is very good. I've not had it, but steak is very good there. And yeah, it's just very, very good. And it's probably, well, other than, I've heard the Hollywood Brown Derby is good. I've never eaten there because it's super expensive, but Mama Melrose's is not as expensive. So if you want a good meal there, Mama Melrose's is a good. Animal Kingdom is the toughest because it has so much good food there to eat. But now that I'm trying to think of all the different places off the top of my head, and I would have to say probably my favorite place to go is Flame Tree Barbecue, which is it's big, so there's a lot of seating areas, which is good for the park. You can, now it is all outdoors, so that can kind of get a little crazy, especially if you eat there during the day, because it's barbecue. Yeah, it's barbecue, so it's a little heavier, and so when you're sitting outside in the humid, it is not very fun to eat it. But like if you go at night, it's good to eat, and the plates are big, so you can share with multiple people. So you can get one plate to share with 3 or 4 other people at the same time. My family has done that a lot, but yes, that is a very good place to eat if you're in Animal Kingdom, the park. The Animal Kingdom like resort is a different story because I've eaten at all those restaurants and they're all fantastic. I don't know if I could pick just one, but in the park, I would say Flame Tree Barbecue is the one I would go to above all else. And as I was saying this, I actually remembered a place in Magic Kingdom that I might like a little bit better than Pecos Bill, but I don't always go there because you have to have a reservation. It's Be Our Guest, which is the Beauty and the Beast themed restaurant. And it is fantastic because you can eat in the ballroom, or you can eat in the West Wing where the Beast Room is, and it's all themed, just really good. They bring, so you have like a little rose that you put on your table, and then they bring a cart with your food, and it's like a quick service, so it's not like anything super fancy, but they will bring it out to you on your cart and they will hand it to you, and you can eat the gray stuff there. So
how fun.
That is fantastic. So I just remembered about that as I was going through the other one, so I was like, I need to come back around and say that one because that one is very good. It's just you have to have a reservation a lot of the times, and I don't always. want to do that. So,
Who wants to?
but yes, so those are my park places to eat. So those are my favorite places when I'm in the park. That's where I'm gonna go to eat.
Nice.
So,
Sounds
good question, Miss Emma.
Thank you. And now another one like it,
Okay.
but not too similar. What is your favorite ride from each park?
Favorite ride from each park. Okay. Magic Kingdom, I have a joke one and then a serious one. So
Okay.
my joke one is the People Mover, which is just this little train in Tomorrowland where you just kind of ride through, and it's just a nice one to just get off your feet for a second. It's constantly,
Sure.
it's one of the few rides that is constantly moving, so it loads pretty quickly.
Nice.
So you can just kind of go up the ramp, get on there, and then for like 5-6 minutes, you just put your feet up. And especially if you're by yourself, you have the whole car, so you can literally put your feet up and just ride through, and just you're in the shade the whole time. So super fun to do that. But real ride that I love to ride the most there is probably Splash Mountain. Now I say that with a little asterisk because I don't necessarily always like getting wet, but I think just from the experience of it, it's so much fun to go up and then have that big drop down into the bottom. So for Magic Kingdom, Splash Mountain probably takes the cake. Although I will say at Magic Kingdom, like I said, there's a lot of small rides that just load very fast, and for Mr. Lane, who does not necessarily like to wait in lines all the day, it is fun just to hop on. Like the Little Mermaid ride is never busy, so I will always ride Mermaid because it's air conditioned and it's always moving.
Nice.
So, but Splash Mountain, like for thrill rides, is my favorite. At Epcot, my favorite is probably Test Track. This is not one I get to ride very often because the line is usually super crazy for it, because you can make your own car in this little studio thing, and then you can test it out on the test track by loading it into your vehicle. I have found it's much faster if I just do single rider, which means I don't get to make the car and I just get put on. So it's not as fun when you're having to do it like that. So I guess that's why it's my favorite, because when I actually do get to do the whole thing, it is so much more fun than just whatever. Also, Epcot, I have another joke one for that, like I say is probably my favorite, but like it's really just kind of because it's goofy. It's Journey into Imagination with Figment. Now, this is a ride that a lot of people do not like because they think it's annoying, but I think it's hilarious, and I will ride that ride all day long. And then an honorable mention is Living with the Land, which is a boat ride that takes you through a greenhouse where they grow food for the parks. And so that is
cool.
Yeah, that is a really cool ride, but it is just kind of a low-key chill ride, so I wouldn't consider it a favorite, but it is another nice way just to get off your feet for a few minutes, because the line is never long for that.
Wear comfortable shoes to the park is also what I'm hearing out of all
Yes, no, you always need to have good shoes, because if you don't have good shoes, your feet
You'll die.
will kill you. Like, it just will. Like, your feet will hurt so bad, you'll get blisters, and it's not very fun time. So good shoes are always a must. At Hollywood Studios, oh man, this is a tough one, because there's really only 3 that are like really, really good, and I haven't rode the newest ride there, so I can't say how good that one is yet. But I would probably say that Smuggler's Run, the new Millennium Falcon ride, is probably my favorite ride there now. It used to be Rock and Roller Coaster, and I think Smuggler's Run takes it, because you get to fly the Millennium Falcon if you're the pilot, and I was the pilot twice, and so like that is awesome. But even if you're not the pilot, then you can literally just sit in your seat and really do nothing, and just sit in the Millennium Falcon and like watch it all unfold. It is awesome. I love that ride. It was also well worth it to wait 4 hours in the line for. So if I'm willing to wait for 4 hours at 4:30 in the morning to ride a ride, it's pretty good. So Smuggler's Run is my new favorite ride at Hollywood. And then at Animal Kingdom, Mount Everest is my favorite ride. There is the roller coaster that goes through the mountains, and you come encounter with the Yeti at the very end, and it is really fun. He doesn't work, but that is part of the fun, is that he does not work anymore. So I love Mount Everest, though. That is probably the best thrill ride that they have in all of the parks.
Nice.
But that is my favorite ride at Animal Kingdom.
Very cool. Okay, what is your, maybe not, it might not necessarily be the best, but what is your favorite time of the year to visit?
Oh, that's a great question. I've only been there during like the Christmassy season once, and that was a lot of fun. But I would say probably in the fall, like when it's decorated for Halloween and stuff. I like that one the best. I don't know why. I just feel like it's not as crowded as like when you get closer to Christmas. So I think I like it from that aspect. It's a little cooler, but not like so cold you have to put on a sweatshirt in the morning to go out. And so, and I just like the atmosphere of like the fallish theme, like for those parks. But don't get me wrong, Christmas is a very close second because they decorate all the parks for Christmas, and it's fantastic. So,
very cool.
Very close tie there. But yes, I would say the fall is my favorite.
The fall. Love that. Okay, what is your favorite place to stay?
Ooh.
What I was gathering from the frequently asked questions was people recommend that you stay like in the resorts that are right there as opposed to like maybe a Holiday Inn and just driving it.
Okay, I will say we have done both. So we've stayed both at a hotel away from Disney and a hotel at Disney. And I will say, for me personally, I like staying in Disney better than staying away from Disney. It is cheaper to stay away, so I get that. And I mean, when you go as much as like my family does, sometimes it's a lot cheaper to just go over there, stay, and drive in. But I think just because it's so much easier just to get on a bus from your Disney hotel, they take you straight to the park, they drop you off, then you can get back on later, go straight back to your hotel. You don't have to go through parking. You don't have to go through this whole mess of trying, especially Magic Kingdom is a mess because you have to park in a parking lot, take a ride over to the station, then at that station you have to decide whether you want to ride the monorail or get on a boat to go to Magic Kingdom. So it's a very long process if you're not staying at a Disney hotel to get to Magic Kingdom, which is my favorite park. So why would I want to take longer to get there, than when I can just get on a bus and be dropped off there? So I love staying at Disney rather than staying away from Disney, just because it's a lot easier to get around. So, and when you fly in, if you're staying at Disney, they pick you up at the airport for free and they take you there. So
very nice.
That is another perk. Now, did you ask like
your favorite place to stay, like within it?
Within it, okay. That's what I was gonna say. If one of your questions was my favorite hotel.
Yeah.
So my favorite hotel there is the Grand Floridian, which is the nicest resort they probably have on property. I stayed there once for one night, and it was awesome. But normally when I go in August, I like to stay in the All-Star resorts because they've all been remodeled, so they actually look pretty nice. They're not super trashy as a lot of people think they are. They're actually very nice. But here's what I also say: when you're just going there to sleep, as long as there's a bed, like that's pretty good. But I do like the All-Stars a lot. I just think they are really fun theme. There's movies, sports, and music. So you can, like, no matter which one you stay at, you have a pretty fun theme there. And so I'll be staying at movies in August, and I'm excited for that one because it's like Dalmatians and Toy Story are the different themes there. So like, it's super cool, like, to hang out at those. But I would say the Grand Floridian is definitely my top. But when I'm going on a budget, yeah, it's the All-Star Resorts. So that's my favorite place to stay when I'm just going by myself, or even if my family's going to and we stay there. I do enjoy the All-Stars
very cool.
quite a bit.
All right. This question is a little more broad. I know there's other things to do other than just ride rides, and so I just called it experience. So basically, what's your favorite thing to do there, your favorite experience that's not riding a ride?
That's not riding a ride. Okay. So at the parks, there are different shows that you can watch, like in them. And so at Magic Kingdom, I love the Carousel of Progress. It's like a little show. It's a circular theater, so it moves in a circle track around these different show scenes. And you pretty much watch this family go through different time periods in American history, experience the new, modern, at the time, modern marvels that come out. So that one's really fun to do, and it's like 20 minutes in this air conditioned. So,
Nice.
And normally it's not very crowded, so you can kind of spread out and just enjoy the air conditioning, and it's a nice long show. At Animal Kingdom, there are 2 musicals that are very good. Finding Nemo, the musical, and then the Lion King musical. It's called Festival of the Lion King. And those are both very fun to watch too, and another great way to cool off for a little while. And they're really good. They are honestly really high quality shows, which you probably would expect because it's Disney. But at the same time, it's also in a park, so you might wonder, is this like Broadway level type, shows? And they are very good. So I think those are some fun things to do in the parks. Then outside of the parks, I like park hopping. That's an experience, or not park hopping, resort hopping. Same kind of thing. You just go to different hotels and you just kind of see what they're like. You can walk around in the lobbies and go to the stores and go to the different restaurants that are there. And so that's another fun thing that I like to do. I just like to hop around to different hotels and kind of see what they do. You can spend the whole day doing that. And then of course there's Disney Springs too, which is another experience that you can go to, and there's a lot of fun things to do there too. So lots of different options for you to do if you want something other than just riding rides.
Love that.
Good question, Miss Emily.
Thank you, I try. Okay, what is the best movie representation?
Oh man, that is another really great question.
I try.
I would probably say, just because they went all out with this one, Star Wars at Hollywood Studios probably takes the cake, because they made that whole land specifically themed around Star Wars, but it's like its own, it's supposed to be its own planet, and it really feels like it is. Like, it's nothing you've seen in a movie before, so it's like it's its own place. And when you're there, you just feel like you're in a completely different place. Like, you really don't even feel like you're in the same
Florida
park.
anymore.
Yeah, no, and that too. Like, you just feel like you're so completely just out of the world. Like, it's just crazy how they do that. And then I would also say Toy Story Land is also really cool. It's just very small, so it's just not a very big park. But when you're walking around, you do kind of feel like you're a toy, like in the yard, because there's a life-size Woody and a life-size Buzz, and so that is pretty cool too. But definitely Star Wars, I think they just go crazy with that at the parks. So they are definitely well represented.
Very nice. Last question. If you could build your dream Disney vacation, what would it look like? How long would you stay? How would you get there?
Okay. Well, just off the top of my head, Miss Emily, I would say I would definitely, have to make this a little caveat first, that obviously family would be the ideal people to go with, but I think since that's a given, we'll just kind of throw that out of the equation. And let's say a small group of friends, maybe some people who've never been before, because that's always fun to go with people who have not been before. And then we would stay at the Animal Kingdom Lodge, because that is my second favorite resort. You have animals that are on the property there, so they walk past your balcony and stuff like that. So super cool place to visit and stay, and so I would love to stay there. Probably for a week, I would say, maybe during a time when it's not super crowded, just because, why wait when you don't really have to, So maybe low crowd, low wait times. And then I guess with money not really being an object, I would love to be able to try some different places that I've never been to before, like maybe some different restaurants I haven't been to before, even some experiences that I've maybe not gotten to do, like to go to the spa one day, you know, something like that. Maybe something a little bit fancier because the wallet does not always agree with those plans and those ideas. So to do something maybe like that, some things that I actually have not done before. They also do like parasailing and stuff, I think, like out on the lake. So like that'd be kind of cool to do that. But yeah, just some things that maybe are a little extra, so you don't always have the room in the budget to do them. But if money's no object, then I would love to do those things.
Very cool.
So
this was fun.
Yeah, and I think flying would be my preferred way to get there too. Because they pick me up and they drop me back off. So
great.
But Miss Emily came up with some excellent questions
Thank you.
today, and I hoped those really helped. If you did not know some of those things, I hope those helped answer it a little bit and gave you some insight as to why Mr. Lane loves Disney World so much. And if you ever want to talk about Disney World, you know you can always come find Mr. Lane, and I will love to talk to you about that. But as for now, if you have been before, make sure to let us know in the comment section. Let us know maybe your favorite ride or favorite restaurant. If you have any ideas for anything you guys want us to talk about in a future video, make sure to leave those in the Facebook comment section as well. And as always, like and subscribe to the YouTube channel so you can keep up with all the videos that we have coming out. We hope you guys have a great rest of your day, and we'll see you next time.